Hi everyone, it's Heidi from Flutter by Heidi, and I'm back today with another new card fold for you. It is forever since I've done one, so thank you for those who've reached out. There's a whole backstory as to why I've been absent, but hopefully I'll be back more regularly with some great projects. So this one is one I shared at a recent team event with wider team. I'm in design for that, and I used the Irresistible blooms, and we used it to showcase a number of techniques. I'm changing it a little bit this time, but it's actually a new one. It's a double hinge card. I haven't seen anyone else do this. You can see it stands up really nicely, and these are layered on the front so that you get a really pretty effect of a triple panel card, and you can write your sentiment in the middle there. But if you didn't want to do that, you could always pop it on the back if you didn't want it to be visible, and you could then decorate the centre panel. So that's what we're doing, but I'm not using Irresistible blooms, lovely as it is. I thought we would mix it up a little bit and use the fabulous Fresh as a Daisy. So this is in the relatively new catalogue. It's a Stampin' Coordinating die set, as you can see here, called Cheerful Daisies, and the paper is called Fresh as a Daisy. Lovely layering stamps, two-step stamping, so you've got the outline and the inner, lots of variations, and then dies to cut those out as well, and they also layer up beautifully. And that the paper itself, I'm just going to share, so it's 12 by 12, and this is one of the sheets that you can cut up into lots of panels, and it's all double-sided, and that big sheet you can see here cuts up into these lovely little panels here, which I'll be using, you know, focal images on cards, lovely colour on the back there, and you can see here, you know, your card front is pretty much made for you already with those ones. And then we come on to the DSP itself, the remainder of the sheets, Beautiful Daisies, and then this kind of dry brush effect on the reverse with lots of different colours. I think that's probably my favourite, which is the paper we're going to use, but I love this blue and white, it's always popular. And then there's sort of various greens there. And the colours we've got in here, rather than just telling you what the colours are, I thought I'd show you a swatch of card. So we have got all sorts of colours, the new colours and some of the ones. The only one I haven't got is Lemon Lolly. But you've got kind of things like As Your Afternoon, Boho Blue, Bubblegum. We've then got Cajun Craze, that's that one there, which you'll remember, Copper Clay, so a slightly more muted colour. We've got Crushed Curry, very familiar to you, and we've got Early Espresso, you know, good, really good staple. We've then got Garden Green, there we go, Lemon Lolly, which I haven't got, Moody Mauve, beautiful, beautiful colour. Pebbled Path, a really good staple, and a sort of a deeper shade to use. Pretty Peacock, returning colour, and Wild Wheat, which is this lovely kind of goldy colour. Wasn't sure about it at first, but it does work so well, as you would expect. So that's all the card that goes with it as well. So we've got some really fun ones. I've actually created a template for the cutting I'm doing, which you know, if you want that, then I'll send it out as part of my customer thank yous this month for you to use, and if not, then follow on the measurements. I'll be working in centimetres, but I will add inches as I usually do, and I've also sized it for US cardstock as well. And that information is down in the description box below this video on YouTube. Just click on that down button to get that information, little down arrow. Other things you're going to need, I'm going to use 3 different colours of ink. So I'm going to use Bubble Bath, Moody Mauve and Wild Wheat. You're going to want a couple of blending brushes, a sheet of your main colour and some basic white contrast, and a kind of 6x4 piece of DSP as well, and then with some scraps for die cutting. So the first thing I'm going to do is just cut this at 14.5 centimetres, and then trim this first piece down to 10.5, and that's going to be my main back panel. My middle panel is going to be 7.5 centimetres, like so. And then out of this I'm going to cut myself some little hinge pieces, and these are 2.5 centimetres. There's 2.5. I'll do it on this side, which you can't actually see. There we go. Hopefully that will move that down slightly. Getting used to my setup again. Gosh, I'm faffing about. 2.5 centimetres. And each of those is, I'm going to cut 4 of them at 4.5 centimetres, but I'm going to score them at 1.5. So I'm going to go 1.5 and then 4.5. Because it's easier to score them while they're big pieces. So 1.5 and then cut at 4.5. Oh, and one of the really useful things to know is that you can now get replacement scoring blades as well. I know a few people have asked about those. They've dropped out, lost them. So there we go. And then out of this second piece, I'm going to cut, as I say, a piece that is 2.5 centimetres. And then do the same again. So my 1.5 and 4.5. So those are my 4 hinges. And I just want another piece that is 14.5 by 6.5. Okay, so away we go. Right, the next thing I'm going to do then is I'm going to do some stamping to create our lovely panels. So just grab yourself some scrap white, basic white cardstock, which you'll see I've got here, and I've mounted my stamps already onto my blocks, and I want to stamp, I'm going to stamp one of my large ones, so I need the infill and the outline for each of my 3 stamps. So you can see here I've got those, and then I also want the kind of centre for the 2 different sizes of card as well. And I'm going to use my, as I say, my bubble bath is going to be my infill colour, and my Moody Mauve is my outline. So I find it easiest with these two, because I'm using a darker colour, to come in with my outline first, then come in, and I've already kind of lined these up as well so they're in the right orientation. So you can see there, they stamp beautifully. You can, you'll get an even better impression if you use your stamping pierce mat, but mine's buried, so I'll find it in a minute. There we go. So I'm just going to do the flower part first. I say just hover over like so, and then my third one. And then pop those away for the moment. You will need to do some more, so I'm actually going to stamp, I've already stamped some of these, sort of like what I call almost, I think you call echinacea sort of flowers as well, because I'm going to want more of those. But I'm just going to use my wild wheat to add the centres here. And I'm saying this is a colour I wasn't sure about to start off with. I mean, I know it's always going to work, because Stampin' Up, you know, they make sure it does. But just some colours just don't always call to you, do they, straight away? So this is one that was one of those, but it is lovely, and it is a lovely goldy kind of colour, which we haven't had before, really. It is quite, I think, a lovely colour. So there we go. So those are our 3 flowers. And then we're going to get those. And these are my outlines. So I'm going to pop those, and you'll see they, you know, they just fit really well. Just wait till your flower is visible. as you know, I use a little bit of post-it note tape. I find that just helps. Just make sure they're not overlapping. This one I will probably pop through separately because I've left it a little bit close. So I'll cut that big one first and then I'll run it through for my echinacea. The reason you don't want it to overlap is because you'll damage your dies, and you certainly don't want to do that. You know, they're expensive bits of kit and you want them to last. And then just rotate those round. And I haven't marked these up. I haven't crafted for such a long time. I haven't marked these up even on my template to make sure that they're visible. But you know, so I know when they're missing or not. But you've got dies for these leaves and for this little flower cluster as well. And say some super sentiments too. Talking of sentiments, let's get those die cut. And I have already mounted up my sentiment, and I've die cut one of these lovely labels that comes with it. You can see here. So I'm just going to use again my Moody Mauve. So wishing you the brightest birthday, and it's a lovely juicy new ink pad. So I've got to be hoping. There we go. It's a little bit on the juicy side, that one. So yeah, we've had quite a change around with our colours. So yeah, just have a look at what we've got. So having done that, now I'm going to create my decoration. And what I have done is I have die cut one of the large flowers from Moody Mauve. I've die cut the 3 outlines out of basic white. And then I have die cut the accent pieces out of Bubble Bath. So all I'm going to do is come in now and glue those in place. So these white ones I'm going to pop behind here. Now I'm not going to use the leaf, so I'm just going to come in with my snips and just remove that. Keep that for another day, although when I'm going to use a pink leaf, I'm not so sure. And these 3 are going to go behind here, and you'll see they do just line up. I'm going to get rid of some of these pieces. I probably should have used my die brush just to allow that to pop through. I might have to speed. Oh no, I won't speed that bit up. You know me. You just get it at 1 speed, I'm afraid. Oh no, I'm not afraid at all. I think, you know, it is. You means you can craft along as well, or maybe go and get a drink while you're waiting for me to stop faffing. So there we go. So I'm going to add some adhesive to the back here. Now this is quite a nice large piece, so I can just add my Tombow onto here. You don't want it to be too thick. This is one where probably using a sponge to add it, or a fine tip applicator would probably be a better idea, but guess what? Haven't got one to hand, not that organised. Still getting my stuff together. You see, that's very good. So I'm just going to pop that on top. And just beauty of the wet glue, obviously gives you a bit of wiggle room. So there we go, there's our first one. And again, here comes my smaller flower. Like so. And then onto my larger one. Like so. So that's going to go to one side. So now I'm going to add some glue to the reverse of these. So this is where you probably do need a fine tip. I haven't got one handy. And what else have I got? I've got a quickie glue pen here, so I'm just going to add that onto the back there instead of fine tip glue. You see, this is where I realise I haven't crafted so long. I'm just not organised at the moment. So once that's added on, you're just going to layer that onto the top there, like so, and then do the same with this next one. Now the other thing you could obviously use here is you could die cut these, which would have been a sensible thing, with some of our adhesive sheets, and that would mean they would sit really well on there. But again, I didn't think about that at the time. So hey, you're getting the on the hoof version. There we go. And I love this Moody Mauve, is so pretty. And we've had other colours that have been similar, but it is very much I would say it's a me colour. I love the kind of purples and deep pinks. The Bubble Bath is not a colour I would naturally go to it, but it is a colour we needed. We needed this kind of pretty, really soft, I would say, more, I wouldn't say call it a baby pink. It's a more sugary pink, perhaps. But anyway, we've got it now, so thank goodness. I think a lot of you will have, if you haven't already got it, it really is one that's worth sticking into your cart next time you're shopping. And of course, this month, when you shop, for every £45 you get a £4.50 voucher to spend in August. So it's a great time to add a few things in there, stock up on your cart. You place an order and that £4.50 is virtually paid for your shipping for your next one. A couple of £45, so £90, you'll get 2 vouchers, and that'll go towards some of our lovely stuff. So there we go. So there's our little layer. So I've done it this way with the white, and then I've also done it another way, which I think I might prefer, just to show you the difference. I've actually done it with the white as the middle layer. So again, we'll see what it looks like on the card, but I've got a different option here. So this is with Moody Mauve at the back, then basic white, and then the Bubble Bath. So a couple of options for us. Okay, other things that I've done, I have cut out some of these lovely fronds. Now you can see these are super fronds, really useful. Just tuck those in as foliage, and again, look at those, they just fall out, those little pieces. So I've kind of cut, I think I've cut 4 of those. And I've also die cut, as I mentioned, some of our stems, again in the wild wheat card, to kind of create these lovely flowers. And again, I may sort of pop a couple of those pieces at the bottom, and look, you've got a lovely spray of flowers. So this is often what I'll do. I'll just play around with the shapes and see what I come up with. So there we go. Okay, so let's get on with the next step of our card. What to do is actually create a blended panel for the front. So all I'm doing is I've got a piece of basic white here, which is it is 6 centimetres by 14.5, so the same height as my card by the depth. And I've got a couple of my brushes. So we've got the mini blending brush and one of our I'm going to say ordinary, but they're not ordinary at all. They are extraordinary, super blending brushes. And I'm just going to sort of dab that into Bubble Bath and just come in from the side there. Let the brush do the work. Starting from the edges just to blend that in. And I'm just going to kind of do half of it in Bubble Bath at the top there. And become a little bit darker. This is where I'm going to mix it with my Moody Mauve. I might put a bit of wild wheat at the bottom, just to represent grass maybe. I'm just going to put a little bit more in the middle there. There we go. Okay, so I think that's probably better enough on my that one. Let's go for Moody Mauve. So I'm going to go a little bit heavy-handed there, never mind. Let's blend that out. So I'm keeping to that kind of same colour palette of the stuff, pinks and purples. Now blending is not necessarily my strength, but hey, I admire some of the beautiful backgrounds people do, but this is my version, and do you know what? I think it's going to look gorgeous. So having done that, this is where I'm now going to see which of these two I think I'm going to want, whether I'm going to go for that darker one or that lighter one. I think possibly that one may work, with a couple of sprigs in there. So pop some dimensionals on the back there. And in fact, I'm going to do my card layer, but that's the one I'm going to use. This one, I've made it, so I'm going to pop it in the box, and I'll use that for one of my future projects. And as you know, I usually have a little CD pouch, these plastic cases, that I can put any spare pieces in, and then they're ready for quick and easy cards on the go. And I keep those in my box. So that's going to be my front piece. So what I want then is my layer, so you can see that's going to go on the front there, and I want a couple of my hinges. So this is going to be what we're going to have, is this is going to be the front of my card. So I'm going to want 2 of my hinges on the left hand side, and I'm going to want the other 2 hinges on the right hand side. Now you want to make sure that these are nice and level. So all I'm going to do is come down around about 3/4 of an inch. So it's 2 centimetres if you're working in centimetres, but that's just kind of, so I'm just measuring 2 centimetres. I'm going to add some glue to the small tab, and then just pop that in place. Like so. Okay, 2 centimetres. And you've got a bit of glue spare, it really doesn't matter. And actually it doesn't matter if you put them in a different place, then again not going to matter, but as long as you get them all in the same different place, if that makes sense. You could use tape if you prefer. I'm using wet glue because I just find that gives me a little bit more, as I always say, a bit of wiggle room. There we go. And then the same on the opposite side. So again, glue. Better brush that out of the way of editing. And you're just lining up that score line with the outside edge. Okay, so I'm going to pop that to one side, and then I'm going to work on that back panel. So I've got a piece of basic white here, and the basic white is 14.5 by 10 centimetres. I'm going to come back in with my flowers, and I'm going to use those same inks to create some flowers at in the back. But I think what I'm going to do is actually stamp off these. So just stamp off just to take that slightly lighter shade. And because I've got such a juicy ink pad, and I'm actually going to use I'm going to pop the Moody Mauve away, and I'm going to use my bubble gum now. So with those, and again, it's that sense of, come off the edge of, don't be afraid to come off the edge of your card. It sort of creates a lovely effect. Just struggling to, there we go, line that up. I'm not stamping off because this is a soft colour anyway. I think it's light enough that it gives a soft effect anyway. Oh, I'm really waffling, aren't I? You can tell them how to practice with this. I'm just used to do my broadcasting instead. So yeah, I've been doing a bit of hospital radio again, which has been lovely to get back into that. I did a lot of time with hospital radio in the past, and it is so great to be back. And we've got ward visiting coming back as well now that we're kind of out of the worst of the, pandemics of times. So I'm just going to pop this, yeah. And how's that? Yeah, I'm just going to stamp off a couple of times. That. And again, just pop those there. And then I'm going to come back in. I'm going to try this other floral image, which I haven't actually stamped yet, which is this one here. There you go. And let's have a couple of leaves as well. Again, wild wheat, it is quite a strong colour, so I am just going to stamp off at least once with these. But just add a little bit in there, just to tie that in with the colour that's in the DSP as well. So now we've done that stamping, we can add our couple of pieces of our DSP that I've chosen, which is this lovely one here, and I'm just going to add a couple of strips just to the side of that. So again, you could obviously use your Stampin' Seal to add this if you wanted to, if you prefer a drier glue to the wet Tombow. And then I'm just adding that in, just a few mils in. Like so. Not sure, maybe I should have kept that off, but hey, there we go. And this can now go in like so, and it just kind of, as you see, it covers up those hinges as well. And I haven't gone right to the edge, although those would cover up the hinges better. I haven't gone right to the edge because it adds a bit of bulk that you don't necessarily want when you're putting your card in the post. It just allows it to fall flat, because we're obviously having quite a few layers on here. So there's our centre panel at the back. Our hinge is going to come in, like so, and then we're going to have our middle panel, like so, and that's going to sit in the front, and that sits around about kind of, say, about 5/8 of an inch, if I forget to tell you what that is, just about 1.5 centimetres in from the side. That's just to help you line it up. So this one is actually going to be on the, I'm going to do this on the right now, so it opens sort of more traditionally. So all I'm going to do is take one of my erasable pens and just mark, like so, to where my glue is going to be. Because what I don't want to do is have any sort of glue squidging out. So just hold those down, and then I can line those up. And you want to just make sure that's nice and square to the rest of your card. So pop it upright, there we go, like so. So that's my panel, you can see. So that's going to go, so that's our middle layer, which is the larger one, and then we're going to add our smaller, smallest layer on. So again, in this is our other piece, and that's going to layer into the middle. So I'm not measuring, I'm just marking where that comes to. So while that is in, I'm just going to get rid of those couple of little marks. What now while I think about it, where I can. This one a little bit closer, so there we go. So now you can see we're starting to get our layered card up. So now is to decide what we want. So it's whether we want to have a panel there, which I think would look lovely. That echoes that piece there. So I'm going to add that to the inside. Move my ruler out of the way and my pen, and just add my adhesive. And that covers up those hinges, like so. So that's my middle right hand panel. We're going to have a panel on the front here as well, inside here, and a panel on the front. So let's add our panel to the front. Gosh, this is, you talk about coming back, you can tell I'm out of practice. God, I'm so slow compared with usual. Maybe it's better. You let me know. There we go. There's our front panel. So this is the one where we're going to add a sentiment, and we're going to add our flowers to the front here along. So we're going to grab some dimensionals. Oh, other things I didn't tell you, clearance rack has been updated as well. So if you're in for a bargain, then there are some absolute bargains. There was some, it may have gone now, there was some great DSP on there, first of like, you know, not, yeah, 90% off, so it's about £1.75 for DSP, pack of 12 by 12 with some really useful colours in. That's always worth grabbing. So I'm going to add this. I don't want it to go over the edge, but there we go. And then I'm going to just pop these in to add a bit of contrast. Like so. And again, just, I probably should have popped those underneath and pop those down first and then added my dimensionals. Would have been sensible, would have held them in place. Right, there we go. And then we can add our, pop our sentiment up on the top there. Okay, so you can see our card is coming together now. So when it opens, we've just got a panel here to do. So I'm going to pop a panel of basic white there. And I thought it'd be lovely to have some of those flowers in place as well. So I'm going to pop my echinaceas. There's my 3 flower stems. So all I'm going to do is create my, put my stems down flat. There we go. I'm just going to loosely pop those because it doesn't matter if these overlap. Because we're going to, and we can trim them at the bottom as well to get a little bit of variation in dimension. So I'm going to add this one on flat, and then just add one on a dimensional. So I'm again just making sure the glue goes in that middle section. And pop a dimensional on the back of my 3rd one just to pop that up. Now again with these, I would have done better to have either used a sponge to add some, or to use some of our double-sided sheets. But the beauty of having it just with the bit of glue is that you get a bit more movement. So you can see I'm just gluing the bottom section down, which allows the top to stand off the card a little bit. And if you're worried about it stuff smearing at all, just take a very light touch to it and allow it to dry just for a few seconds first as well, and then it's less likely to smudge. Okay. So we can come in and just snip off anything overlapping at the bottom there, and then we can snip the other bits off if we need to once it's on our card. So this is going to go on the inside there. So again, we're covering up those hinges to create our lovely panel. And then it's up to you what you want to do on that last panel. What I'm going to do is take some of our lovely new gems. He says, if I can find, these are the new in colour dots. So I'm just going to take some of these beautiful ones here, which I just think they go so well. Add a little bit of bling. And there we have our triple panel double hinge card. So you could add some more DSP here if you wanted, which I may do. I'll add some photographs if I do, and if you fancy doing something different, you could do it using Irresistible Blooms. Still available, it's an online exclusive. And saying I've used a couple of techniques there as well, which I'll share on another day. Thanks for watching. Come back and see me again soon, and please hit that subscribe button. It does make a difference. Take care. Bye now.